All right, so we're going to go ahead and get started. Welcome back to another Monday night live masterclass with Coach Michelle. This is again part of my peptide series, which I'm loving doing this for you guys because after I do these lives, I get so my DMs and my inbox gets flooded with questions about either things that we've already gone over or other peptides that you guys want to know about. So trust me, I have an entire list of what I'm going to be covering. And again, we're focusing on health right now, the health peptides, because in my opinion, those are the most important ones because obviously we need to get our health in check. We need to have our bodies in the healthiest place possible before we really want to implement anything else like a weight loss, fat loss, or even a muscle building peptide, because having a healed body or a healing body is going to make those other peptides so much more effective. So it's really important to focus on the health part of it first and then move into other things as opposed to doing it backwards like most people end up doing. I know specifically with GLP-1s, people want to jump right into those. And the thing to understand is the healthier your body is, specifically your gut, the better the GLP-1s and the human growth peptides are going to work. So let's focus on our health and then we can move into all the other nitty-gritty stuff. So tonight we are talking about a special peptide, and it's one of those that almost acts like an internal metabolic switch, if you will, helping your body respond better to stress. We can have improved energy production, that's always important, and support our metabolic flexibility. That's a big one, right? Especially as we age, because things just kind of tend to go into reverse as we age, right? So tonight we are talking about MOTS-c, MOTS-c, which is a mitochondrial derived peptide that supports our energy, metabolism, and also resilience in our bodies. It is one of the most unique peptides that we have because it works inside of the mitochondria where all of our energy is made, right? The powerhouse. There we go. My typical disclaimer, this masterclass is for educational purposes only. This is not medical advice, not a recommendation, just empowering you guys with some science-based or science explained, just simply explaining things to you if you have questions or you're curious about it, because more and more people are getting so much more curious about peptides as they are gaining popularity. So what is MOTS-c? Well, I am not even going to try and, say what it stands for, but just keep in mind it is a mitochondrial derived peptide. It is naturally produced in our cells like every other peptide that we have. It is a key regulator of our metabolism and energy production. It is known for improving how the body utilizes both glucose and our fatty acids, metabolic flexibility, right? It is connected to healthy aging and stress resistance, which again is extremely important. And it acts more like a metabolic signal than a healing peptide. So think of it like BPC 157, that was the first one that we talked about. If that is for healing and repair, then MOTS-c is for energy, resilience, and metabolic control. Okay, so do you see how things, synergistically end up working together? Yes. We'll get into that in a little bit, though. So how does it work exactly? Well, like we said, it improves our mitochondrial function. It'll enhance the ATP production, which obviously is for cellular energy. And it also supports mitochondrial biogenesis, so helping to create new mitochondria, which obviously is very important in our bodies. It's going to help you increase metabolic flexibility, which is something that is really getting backlash right now, and kind of attacked by certain spaces of We don't need carbohydrates. Our bodies know what to do, blah, 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 blah. Well, this will also help you to increase metabolic flexibility. It's going to help your body know when to shift between burning carbs and burning fats efficiently, which is a very important thing. MOTS-c the increased metabolic flexibility is going to support insulin sensitivity. It does, I promise. And it's going to basically reduce the sluggishness that our metabolism can end up going through. It'll enhance stress resilience. So it helps our cells adapt to metabolic stress. It's going to support AMPK activation, which is our body's energy sensing switch. Okay, again, it goes back to making sure that our bodies are as flexible as possible. MOTS-c is going to support healthy aging pathways because research has shown that MOTS-c levels do decline with age, like a lot of things within our bodies do. And lower levels of MOTS-c are linked to reduced exercise tolerance, reduced energy, and impaired metabolic function. So kind of in layman's terms, MOTS-c is going to help our cells cope with stress and energy demands better, which obviously is extremely important as we age, if you are going through perimenopause or if you're dealing with chronic inflammation. Sorry, my comment section is working on my phone, but it is not working on here. So let's see if I can get it to work so I can actually just look over and see instead of looking at my phone. So some of the top benefits that have been revealed or discussed with MOTS-c is obviously improved energy production. A lot of people have reported smoother and more stable baseline of their energy levels. I have not personally used MOTS-c myself. It is in it's in the plan for January. So remember, I was taking basically December off of most of my peptides, and I'm going to start a new stack in January, and MOTS-c is one of them with another peptide that I'll be using myself. It'll help better exercise performance, which is something that I really want to focus on in 2026 because this is the year leading up to my 50th birthday. And again, I want to be the healthiest and most active and most fit person I can be by the time I hit age 50. So that's going to be a real focus of mine next year. And MOTS-c is very popular in athletic circles for helping with stamina and then endurance support. I can also say, personal experience here, the older I am getting, yes, I am perimenopausal. Yes, I am still cycling. Sorry if that's TMI, but I am discovering how much more I am struggling during certain weeks of the month. And so I'm really hoping that the MOTS-c will help me basically stay consistent throughout the month so that, I'm not feeling like I'm just dragging booty and decreasing my weight significantly certain times of the month. So we'll see how that works out. MOTS-c will enhance fat metabolism because it activates the AMPK. It can support the body's ability to utilize stored energy, burn that excess fat that you might have a little bit more trouble getting to burn off of your body. That's something that I've been focusing a lot on the past few months with my own cycles. So it'll be interesting to see if it helps along the lines with what my goals are for next year. It's going to help with metabolic flexibility, which people are trying out a little bit more frequently now. They're trying to see if their bodies can budge from a sluggish area or being stuck for months, if not years on end. MOTS-c will help to prevent that stuck metabolism feeling that we end up getting, especially during our midlife shifts, right? I'm not saying that we're old. We're going through our midlife portion of life. It can help indirectly with weight management. Now, it is not a fat loss peptide, but it will support insulin sensitivity, energy metabolism, and then in the improved training outputs. So if you're utilizing other tools or you're trying to get other things in your body to start functioning like you think they should be, it can help with the weight loss aspect of it, but again, not directly, but by other means that we utilize. Anti-aging support. Who doesn't want anti-aging support, right? Because our mitochondria decline with age, MOTS-c helps to kind of shore up one of the biggest drivers of our aging, which is mitochondrial inefficiency, not insufficiency, inefficiency, because they get more inefficient as we age. So again, I haven't utilized it myself, but some typical discussions around people who do utilize MOTS-c is seasonal metabolic support, specifically this time of year, right? During their training cycles, if they are going through like build phases, if they're strength training and things like that, they'll utilize it for that. As part of energy or longevity protocol, that's one that I've been reading a lot about. And a lot of people will utilize it with NAD, just basically for mitochondrial synergy, because the two of them work very well together. And then also with GLP-1s to support the metabolic flexibility and the muscle retention, because everybody talks about the fact, oh, if you take a GLP-1, it's just, you're going to lose all your muscle. It's a muscle wasting medicine and blah, 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 which we know that is not necessarily the case. It depends on how you utilize it, but that's why some people will stack the MOTS-c with the GLP-1 to help also continue with that muscle retention while they are doing the strength training, lifting all the heavy stuff, and doing what they're supposed to. Keep in mind, guys, as I'm talking about these things, you need to be utilizing peptides, whether alone or in some sort of stack, under the guidance of a medical provider who knows what they're talking about. And you can also get the assistance of a coach who is certified in peptide therapy. I am one of them, and I know of a number of others as well. If it's something that you're interested in, I can always help you out with that. So let's talk about some popular stacks with the MOTS-c, because I've been doing this for all the other peptides. Last week we talked about TB500 and how it is rarely, if ever, used on its own. It's usually stacked with something else because they work to, hand in hand for things. Well, MOTS-c is one that you can use on your own, but again, it's got some serious kick to it if you stack it with certain other peptides. And we'll first talk about what I just talked about, which was MOTS-c and NAD+, because it's essentially the mitochondrial powerhouse stack, right? The MOTS-c is going to improve our metabolic signaling, and the NAD, as we talked about before, improves energy production and repair. So this stack could be great for energy, fatigue reduction, anti-aging, again, metabolic flexibility, which are all really important as we age. One we haven't talked about yet, which is AOD 9604. That is actually next week's peptide that we're going to talk about. MOTS-c and AOD 9604, which the MOTS-c, again, supports the energy metabolism, and the AOD supports fat metabolism and also indirectly joint health. Again, these peptides are so multifaceted, it blows my mind. MOTS-c and GLP-1, microdosing or regular dosing, depending on what it is that you're doing. So fantastic for men and specifically women who want to preserve that muscle, right? We don't want to lose our muscle, especially as we age. Have more stable energy, especially if you're in the midlife season, right? Improve your metabolic function and have better metabolic outcomes as you are kind of experimenting. And then again, reduce fatigue, because sometimes we get the just smack in the face in the middle of the day and you're just like, where did this come from? I'm not having any sugar crashes. It's just, being a midlife woman, which is super fun. MOTS-c and BPC 157, we kind of covered this. There was a little blip that I gave ahead of time. MOTS-c helps energy and metabolic support. BPC supports inflammation. It improves our gut health. It helps our recovery. That stack is great for overall wellness foundations. MOTS-c and BPC 157. That may or may not be the stack I'm going to use in January. Just saying. With every single one of these classes that I'm doing, of course, I'm going to cover safety, quality control, provider guidance, so on and so forth. You need to ensure that the peptides you are getting and utilizing are sourced from a reputable licensed medical provider. Just an FYI, MOTS-c is not FDA approved. It is considered a research peptide. So your dosing cycles are going to vary. Obviously, we want to pair MOTS-c with our lifestyle foundations that we talk about every week. And it's important to know this isn't something that's like a stimulant or, a quick fix to help with whatever it is that it offers. You may want to, rapidly improve in your body. Just like all the other peptides, MOTS-c is a tool. It is not a replacement for our foundations, our nutrition, our sleep, our strength training, metabolic habits, our mindset, the foundation that we need to have in place, right? Do I sound like a broken record yet? Because this is very important, so I'm going to say it every single class. Some benefits that people might see from the MOTS-c, they usually go or they talk to a provider about getting onto a peptide like this is because they're dealing with, a lot of them, it's low energy. Midlife women dealing with, poor tolerance for exercise, the metabolic shifts that we deal with. A lot of people who are insulin resistant because it helps with the insulin sensitivity as it helps with the metabolic flexibility. Loss of stamina, that constant, source of energy that we get. Mitochondrial decline, again, as we're aging. And then also chronic stress, because we know, especially people who are in their midlife season, not just women, but men as well, we go through such stressful situations when we hit our 40s and up that obviously we need something that's going to kind of help us to not necessarily rein in the stress, but control the effects that the stress is going to have on our bodies. I personally feel like this peptide is especially interesting for midlife women who basically feel like their metabolisms have just kind of slammed on the brakes, and it doesn't feel like anything that they're doing is helping with any sort of productive movement in their journeys. So that's why I'm really excited to start utilizing this particular peptide next year, just to see how it'll change what I've been currently doing for the positive or for the negative. We never know. So anybody have questions? Because my comments are not loading here. Let me, of course, something went wrong. Let me see if there's questions in the comments. No. So does anybody have any questions about MOTS-c? I know I kind of went a little bit quick tonight. Obviously, you can tell I'm feeling better, right? My head doesn't hurt. Yay. Even though my nerves are healing and my neck is angry, my head does not hurt today. So that's a beautiful thing, because I've got a very busy week ahead of me. So, all right. Nobody is popping any questions in, and I am now where I was on the recording, or the playback, I should say. So, If you are watching the replay and you've got questions, you've got comments, whatever, feel free to put them here on Facebook or in the YouTube replay, and I will address them as they come across my email. I just want to close by saying that I'm fascinated by all peptides, but particularly this one, the MOTS-c, because it supports our mitochondria. And the mitochondria is our foundation of energy. Like, we need that. We need our mitochondria to function for our metabolisms. We need it to function for our aging. We need it to function for basically everything. So when your mitochondria are functioning well, everything else seems to get easier. Our weight loss, our energy, our recovery, our hormones, our sleep, our mood, etc., etc. So again, if you guys have questions about this particular peptide after watching this or while watching the replay, please make sure that you put them in there so that I can address them and make sure that you are completely understanding about this particular peptide, MOTS-c. So I hope everybody has a fantastic rest of your Monday night. Julie, you're very welcome. And I will see everybody next Monday. Remember, there's going to be no live the week of Christmas because I will be on a cruise ship living my best life in the Caribbean. So I'll see everybody next Monday. Okay? Bye.